it do? It's your boy Shoboat, aka Shobeezy, and welcome back to the Plugged In Podcast. So, with this episode today, I wanted to kind of follow up on a previous video that I made talking about the grayscale crypto crash. And I wanted to kind of touch on my strategy and my philosophy about investing and how I deal with a down market. So before I dive into that, go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit the notification bell if you haven't already, so that way you can be notified, you know what I'm saying, every time one of these new Plugged In Podcast episodes drops. You feel me? So let's just jump right into it. A lot of you guys that have been watching my previous videos for the Plugged In Podcast, you kind of know that I have more of a stock market background. And that's kind of what has kind of shaped my strategy and my philosophy when I go into cryptocurrency, when I go into the crypto market, because I'm more of a traditional investor because I'm a long-term holder. You know, I'm not a day trader or an options trader or nothing like that. I'm a long-term holder. So I kind of take that same mentality when I go into crypto. In stocks, you know, you are patterned to hold, because you know that when you invest into these companies that, you know, it takes years, you know, for you to actually see those profits really coming in a major way. You know what I'm saying? So when I go into crypto, that's kind of I think the same way. That's the same strategy that I use. When I buy a particular coin, I plan on holding it for years. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going into this thinking that it's going to be a quick flip and I'm going to, you know, become rich overnight type of thing. I'm going into it the same way I would go into buying a stock. You know what I mean? And that's what's going to benefit you the most in the long run. So the biggest thing to remember is this: whether we're talking about the stock market or the crypto market, both of them, the markets recover 100% of the time. And that's why I always say, make sure that you're researching these companies, if it's stock, or these projects, if we're talking about crypto, because you understanding them is going to make it easier for you to hold during these turbulent times. You know, like for an example, I'll just give you a quick example here right now. So if you remember a few years back when Bitcoin had hit its all-time high at that time of like $25,000, right? And then shortly after, I want to say 6 months after that, there was a huge sell-off and it got down to about $5,000. Now, there are people during that time on record that sold, you know, at a loss, and they recorded massive losses, because they bought in at 20,000, 25,000. So they panic sold and sold it, you know, at the bottom at 5,000, or when it was getting to that bottom of 5,000, right? Now, if those same people would have just held, they would have experienced what happened in 2021 and saw Bitcoin hit $60,000. But you had to hold. And that's the one thing that, you know, like I said, the market recovers 100% of the time. And it's funny because I was just explaining this to somebody, because last week, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. Last week, I was having a conversation with myself and I was kind of beating myself up a little bit like, man, I wish I would have invested in the cryptocurrency sooner, because I know if I did, you know, my profits would be through the roof. I'm already knowing. And I had to kind of reel myself in, because I was like, all right, well, look, the reason why you're able to do so good in crypto right now is because you spent so many years in stocks. And that's where I built my foundation of understanding how the market works and experiencing ups and downs in the market flow. You know, when the market shot up sky high, when it bottomed out, you know, I've experienced these things. And if I didn't have that and I jumped into cryptocurrency, I would be like one of these guys that I've seen on Twitter that is losing their mind because this one coin that they're heavily invested into is down 5% today. So they think that, you know, the world is coming to an end and they're panic selling and they sell it off at a loss. And here's the big thing. You only take an L when you sell. And that, I need to put that on some t-shirts, man, for real. But in all seriousness though, it's, you only record a loss when you sell. And these people, what they do is they trick themselves out of their position. They trick themselves into thinking that they're doing themselves a favor by cutting their losses. Oh, it's down 5%. I'm just going to sell it off and cut my losses, and that way I won't lose anymore. What? That makes no sense. That's backwards. If you would have held on to it, probably the following day or the following week, it would be back profitable. You know, so you have to have that understanding. So that's why I like making these videos, because I do have a lot of experience, and maybe me sharing some of my wisdom with you guys that are watching these videos is something that you can kind of take in and put it into your own arsenal, or just kind of, it'll be back there in the back of your mind when you're going through one of these turbulent times, and you remember something that Shoboat said in one of these videos. But at the same time, you have to DYOR. You have to do your own research. When you are buying a stock, when you are buying a crypto, you have to do your own research, and you have to dig into this company and what they're about, or dig into this, if we're talking about crypto, dig into this project and see what it's about. You have to be able to understand their mission and their vision and what their overall goal is, because if you understand that and you're with it and you think they have a lot of potential to follow through with that and hit those goals that they have, it's going to make it 10 times easier to hold on to that stock or that coin when you're going through turbulent times. It's something that helps you for your mental well-being and your emotional well-being, to where when it is a down market, that you don't panic. When you're dealing with the investment market, stocks or crypto, patience is always rewarded. I'll give you an example here. So, and this was just from 2020, right? So I decided that I was going to look into the cannabis stocks. And I'm like, all right, everybody keeps talking about them. A lot of novice investors talk about weed stocks. So let me look into this, and let me get some skin in the game with these cannabis stocks and see what it's all about. So I was kind of doing like a test market. And I came across one. It was Sundial Growers, or Sundial Groweries, or whatever it's called, Sundial. And I kind of did my research on them. I didn't see anything overly positive or overly negative. It was, everything I read about it was kind of neutral. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and grab some shares of this company, of this Sundial. And at the time, I think it was like 50, 60 cents, something like that. So I grabbed a nice amount of shares of that company, and I just held it, right? Holding it. Now, meanwhile, in my stock portfolio, all my other stocks are just through the roof. They're all just going up, right? And I'm looking at Sundial, and it's doing the exact opposite. It's going backwards. So I'm looking like, what is going on with this company? I couldn't find anything, any articles or anything like that that were just suggesting something negative was going on within the company or nothing like that. So I'm just like, what is going on? So I'm holding. At one point in time, it got clear down to like 11 cents. 11 cents. So I've lost a ton of money in this company at this time. But me personally, I do not believe at selling any stock or any crypto at a loss. So I'm holding. I'm still holding through all this, right? And this is not even a company that I'm like hella passionate in or nothing like that. You feel me? This is like solely a test market thing that I'm like, let me give it a try. I'm holding. And then I believe it was December or maybe January 2021. It was either December 2020 or January 2021. One or the other. I can't remember. The Wall Street Bets crew from Reddit had got a hold of Sundial. You know, because they had already ran GameStop up at that time. And then they started grabbing all these other companies and squeezing those, like that's when they started buying like BlackBerry and like AMC and things like that, right? So Sundial was one that they had kind of put their hands around as well. And lo and behold, I bought this at 50 or 60 cents. Sundial shot up to like $3.50. And I'm just sitting there like, I can't believe this. Like, are you serious? So I'm just keeping an eye on it, right? And At some point in time, it starts to come down a little bit, and it gets down to like $3.25, right? So I said, all right, I'm collecting my chips, and I'm leaving the table. And that's what I did. I ended up exiting my position in Sundial at $3.25. Now, this is a stock that I bought 50, 60 cents, got all the way down to 11 cents. All I did was hold. That's it. And this weird scenario ends up happening, and that was the perfect time for me to take my profits and leave. And that's what I did. So I'm trying to tell you guys, and I just wanted to give that as an example. This is something that I personally experienced. All I did was hold, and I was able to leave with a massive profit. I had like $300 worth of shares in this company, so I knew if it was to take off, that I would, that I would have a nice profit if I did. But I did not think that this scenario with Wall Street bets would happen, but it did. It's one of those things, man. Patience is rewarded. So that's how I go into everything. So when the market is down in crypto, you can't panic. You have to look at it as a sale. You have to look at it as an awesome buying opportunity. Same thing I would do when it was stocks. It's the same philosophy, the same strategy, and I've won with it this whole time. Buy into companies that you do feel very confident in, and that way it does not rip you apart when it is down. I just wanted to kind of like pass that experience and that wisdom along to you guys. Hopefully it brings some value to you, and it's something that will equip you for the next flash crash or down market that you might see in stock or crypto. So make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell when you do. Even if you already subscribed to the channel and you haven't hit the notification bell yet, hit the notification bell now. And if there's any questions that you guys have, make sure you leave them in the comments, because I do read my comments and I will respond back to you. Other than that, I will see you on the next episode. Shobeezy, I'm out.